Okay, pilots, I'm going to quickly, quickly install my navigation light and landing light here. Now, I've done cut me a little valley here to put my lead, and I'm taking a little small awl, just kind of spreading the valley open there a little bit so the wire go in it pretty good. Now, I had to come out here to this wing frame mount and come around it. That's where you bolt that frame that goes to the fuselage. And this was some hard styrofoam pilots. I mean, it was tough. Young stuff wouldn't cut to save your life. I went through 2 blades cutting this. I've got my little chunk cut out here for my landing light. I got my little chunk cut out for the navigation light. This is the red light wing, the red light district. I've got to run this lead up to here, cut it, and tee in my landing light there. So with black lead up, navigation light here, don't do that. Just getting it lined up in the hole there. Well, I'm gonna put that base in just a little bit there. And I'll start putting my wires down. The yellow paint will flake on you a little bit, but that silver is pretty, I mean, it's on there pretty good. The yellow paint is kind of glossy. And when you see gloss paint, it's just brittle, is what it is. It's got a hardening agent in it. That's what creates the gloss. And it's actually the hardening agent that's cracking. It's not the paint. The paint is flexible, but the hardening agent they put in it to get it to have a gloss is brittle. I'm getting my red lead started downward. I've got this valley cut pretty, I mean not deep, but about 3 millimeters, I guess. Because I wanted this wire to be completely hidden. Come to a turn, you get it started, but you want to make sure you get your other lead in first, because as you're pushing it down, you're pulling the lead. And so you always want to give it, you don't want to get into a tight turn there where the wire won't move, won't pull. Get that screwdriver in about a 30 degree angle. I'm gonna push my lead down in there. You can also do this with a little awl. Get that lead pushed in there so far you can't even see it, can't even tell it's been done. It's looking pretty good. But I've already got the other wing done. It turned out great. Wild Bill, man, I'm sorry about you crashing. Well, you didn't really crash it. Wild Bill was sitting on the tarmac ready to take off. All of a sudden, here comes another Bigfoot and hit him head on. A man run the red light and hit him head on. Oh, It messed his wing up pretty bad. Took a big chunk out of his wing. But if I was you, Wild Bill, I'd see how much a wing set costs. Go ahead and put you another wing on it. But your Viper there, I don't know, man. When they're that much damaged, I prefer just to get another fuselage. I mean, a small split or a crack or something like that's one thing, pilots, but when your whole nose is crunched, you put a lot of glue on it, you're putting a lot of weight on the front end. You was right, Wild Bill, if you put too much weight on that front end there, you know. But you could put it in some hot water. See if it'll form back out there, but I don't know, man. I ain't putting no money on it. Well, we get our wires here, and we get out to the landing light. Wild Bill's got a beautiful flying field. Man, it looks like an airport out there. Beautiful. I'm sporting my Boozers shirt today. Thanks a lot, Mary Boozers. They gave me this shirt last year at Joe Nall. Alright, we're gonna give ourselves enough room to make a T-joint there. I thought about using that harness that comes with the light, with the landing lights, but man, it's so big and bulky and thick. And this plane being smaller, I didn't want no big bulky mess there. So what I'm going to attempt to do, and it is possible because the other wing I said is complete, is I'm going to try to make my T right here. Since it's so close to the front of the wing where I've got my channel cut, that I have just cut my landing light lead short. It's kind of short there. I'm going to spread that all apart. Give myself a little bit. Pinch and twist. Pinch and twist. Red to red. Black to black. I'm going to get all my red leads together. And get a hold of it. I don't like soldering stuff, pilots, on these styrofoam planes. You can solder it if you want to, but if you're that good, go for it. But I'll be dripping solder down on that styrofoam for sure. So I'm gonna make just a straight out tape. I'm not going to split none of the wires going this way and that way. I'm going to just bring them all up into a point. And try to get it all covered there with as little piece of tape as I can. Cut about a 1 inch square, a little less maybe, width of the tape. Put it on there. see what I'm talking about. See how all the wires is going into a point? There's no wire coming out the top up here of the tape. Got them all together. Then we're gonna put our black leads together. I got some parts in for my SU-30. I got my nose comb in, got my gear doors in, so hopefully here in a little while I'll get that and finished up. I'll do the same way, all into a point. But I'm going to take a piece of tape instead of just wrapping the wire up individually. I'm just going to run it around that other one. That isn't sealed up, it ain't going to touch it. Just make sure it's secure to that one. Just putting a piece of tape on it. And then I've cut a valley here. If you'll see that cut right there, let me get my finger in the right place. See the cut right here? That's where I'm gonna be stuffing all this wire in here. So what I done was, when I cut that, instead of cutting straight down and making a cut, I cut in a 45-degree angle this way, made a cut. I come on this side, cut a 45-degree on this side, and I took my blade and went straight in right here and cut the bottom, and then pulled that big chunk of styrofoam out to where it's kind of hollowed out in there. There'll be plenty of room. So I get my light in there. I'll fold this lead over here. Screwdriver. Get it started. Bring that lead back over here and go into the channel that's going to the fuselage. Make sure I got that wire running right. Just put it in there a little bit, just enough to hold it, because you want it to be able to move as you stuffing these other wires down in there. Fall off the stand. It does that sometimes. Taking that screwdriver and just trying to ease one side of that roll of tape up, one side of it down into that valley. Just pushing one side of it, and it usually rolls it right in there. Don't try to push it straight down from the top, go from the side, and then maybe push a little bit on that side. too bad, does it? Big old chunk out of it now. Not too bad. Now you can always go back, pilots, and you can fill that hole up with the epoxy and paint it silver if you want to. That's possible. Alright, now we get the rest of this lead started. Now we just run the lead all the way up to the other end there. Let me just get it secured here, and then I'm going to show you the other wing. Okay. Now, once I get that lead finished up, I come down here to where the fuselage comes in. I made a little slit on into the inside here and buried my lead right up to where the servo lead comes in. I didn't want to come down here and tear my decal all up and bring the lead. I could bring the lead straight down here, but I didn't want to tear that decal all up, pilots. I just left it like it was. But I'll glue my covers on it, glue the covers on it. I took the paint off. You can see where I took the paint off, so it'll glue better. I'll get that together. I was wanting to show you the fuselage. Now, I've got the tail together. I mean, it ain't nothing hardly to put this thing together, pilots. You got 2 screws goes in that base right there, and then you got a small screw that goes into the tail wheel, kind of reinforces the tail wheel. But I got to looking at it, pilots. I got to studying it there a little bit. So the tail wheel is connected to the rudder, right? So that means that little screw hole that was down there I just showed you is literally the only support for that wheel. If you come down pretty hard and it breaks that support, it might split this hinge all the way up through here and just rip you rudder off. So the only thing I can think of doing is putting a piece of hinge tape on this side, a piece of hinge tape on that side to just reinforce it best it could. What do you think? Alright, I got my red indicator, got it cut there. Haven't glued anything, but it's ready to go in. I got the wings just kind of went on simple, pilots. I mean, they just bolted right up. It's got brass inserts in it right here, and then on the wing line right up. I got my controller set up. I'll show you that here in just a second. Let me flip it over here. I'm going to show you my white light I've installed in the bottom. And it's not going to strobe because, Lord have mercy, pilots, Arrows has been sold out of those strobing drivers already. Now, I was telling you about I might put it in a cab, but man, there's a hard plastic plate in back behind there that the motor mount all kind of mounts to. So that was pretty much impossible. Alright, set up for the GPS and the safe. Alright, of course I'm not going to show you anything on control and everything, but I'm just going to show you in the instructions here that it does explain to you very well how to do these things. This is their setup page right here. I hope you can see that. But it's got where you set up, you go into system setup, you go to model type, airplane, and you go in, you change your channels around to where your gear is channel B, your auxiliary channel or channel 6 would be I, that's your bind button. And you go into functions list, you put a throttle cut on it. They want you to put the throttle cut on it. So that tells you right there what it should be set up with. Channel H is the throttle cut, channel B is operational safe, beginner, intermediate, and experienced mode. That'll be on channel B. And then channel I, which is the bind button will activate the GPS, the auto landing, things like that. But before you fly, before you do your first flight, you only have to go through this once. But you've got to go in and do a flight control setup. Tells you how to do it. And then you've got to go in and set up your fence. See? To set up a fence, let me make sure I'm making the right one here. Yep, I think that's it. No, that's control. Here it is, right here. Alright, you go in, you set up your GPS and your fence and everything on this page here. You got to calibrate. Once you turn the controller on, you move your sticks inward, and you beeps on your ESC. I go through a certain little pattern there, and then you've got to pick your plane up and you've got to flip it over twice, just like you was doing a loop, and then you got to turn it to the side just like you was doing a roll. Dadgum, you phone. I'm trying here, pilots. I'm trying, and that does a roll. You do those to set up your gyro and your GPS and everything, and then you go in and you set your plane up onto your field, and you point it into the wind, and you push your button there, and it starts doing a little waggle with your ailerons and with your rudder and with your, well, not the rudder, but the elevator. And when it stops doing that, it's found the GPS signal and it's got it set up, it's ready to go. All you gotta do is take off. Take off. When you want to land, you line the plane up with the way it was let it took off. You hit that button, you come in and land on something. Then they want you to do the what is it? The range test. Range test. I'm trying to think of it. Yep. They want you to make sure you do a range test and do all your kind of range tests and everything. But there's quite a bit of little setting up you got to do. But I've got my Carbon Cub. I don't know if you can see it. I got the Carbon Cub S Plus set up. Set up. And I was wanting to show you my cone. My poor old SU-30's been noseless. Had a band-aid on his nose. But he's got his nose. He's gonna have his gear door. And I'm gonna get them 3 color rings in. Put all that in. That's gonna be interesting to see all that. But there's my update on my Cub. I'm out.